My name is Kitty Ritz, and on the left you see two pumpkin growers who are now 48 and 45. And if you can't grow something because you have no water, just make a scarecrow. Next. So as Arlo Guthrie says, inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow, gonna mulch it deep and low, gonna make it fertile ground. And if you haven't listened to it for a while, listen to the garden song. Next. So why garden with kids? Well, gardening uses both large and small motor skills, meaning running, large, and picking things up like seeds and bugs, small motor. Gardens are sensory wonderlands. They have sights and sounds, and you can touch things and you can smell things, and you can actually taste things. And the lifelong benefits of growing food and eating what you grow, including mental, emotional, and physical health, are very well documented. Connecting with nature as children creates a lifelong habit of environmental awareness and appreciation of living things. Not only does that improve one's life, but it also has the possibility of helping the world. So next. It's been a long couple of years, so we want this on the left and not this. Go, next. So some kid-friendly garden spaces. A designated space is best. Your garden is a container, a small bed, an area along a fence, but having some sort of limit, having some sort of visible and tangible border can save a lot of plants. The plants themselves need to be easily picked and eaten. Fruits and vegetables can be low down or at eye level. And always try to include edible flowers, things like violas, borage, nasturtiums, calendula, and there are many other edible flowers. Just check first before you eat any flower. Always adapt the garden and the activities to the age, the size, and the interests of the child. So it is perfectly possible to garden with a toddler, but it will look different than gardening with an 11-year-old. And always plan for dirt. We always say soil, but I mean dirt, the stuff that's going to come into your house. For water play, for exploration, more exploration, and follow the child's lead. So I always think of my dad, who was a fabulous gardener, but I never once saw him grow a vegetable garden. And finally, I asked him late in life, why not? And he said when he was a kid, he was forced to work in the vegetable garden. To him, it was work. It was not fun. Next. So invite those kids in and enjoy them while they're there. And these are the things that I think most kids are very good at. Appreciate them when they're digging and hauling and dumping and raking and finding bugs and making holes and carrying things around and tasting, and give them short activities. Most kids, those are my crows, most kids are not good at weeding, spacing, thinning, using large cans or hoses selectively. They can certainly use them, but probably not for what you want them to use them for. They're not very good in the heat. So don't plan on gardening at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And they're not very good at long sessions. 15 minutes, maybe a couple times a day, is a lot more productive than planning for an hour or two. Next. This is sort of a private belief. All children deserve real tools, not toy tools that are going to be frustrating and not helpful. So you can find a great short shovel. It's the shovel that I use. I love it. It is in the hardware store just with all those other regular shovels. A trowel, perfect for a kid. If you have a very small child, give them a sturdy soup spoon. A hand rake, a shrub rake. So a shrub rake is fancier in that it probably has an extendable handle, but it's just the same thing. And if you have a broken kid's rake, because it broke after the first time a kid used it, just take off the rake part and use that. And a sifter. A sifter is great for kids to explore soil. Next. So grow what they like to eat. And I'm here to tell you that it's probably not going to be radishes, and it should be something that will grow well here and now. So, as master gardeners always say, right plant, right place. June is perfect planting time for warm season crops. And the summer plants for kids of all ages that I have experienced success with are beans, especially pole beans. They're very impressive. Corn and popcorn. You have a tiny garden, you probably are not going to be able to plant much corn. Pumpkins and gourds. So pumpkins, you can get smaller plant sizes. Cherry tomatoes. Don't try and interest kids in big honking tomatoes. They like cherry tomatoes. They can pick a million and pop them in their mouth. Greens. I actually see lots of kids who like to eat lettuce, chard, sorrel, herbs, and even kale if you already have kale growing. And once again, the flowers. So violas, borage, nasturtiums, all edible. Marigolds are always great, but sunflowers. No children's garden should be missing some sunflowers. And since you're going to love this so much, gardening with children, think ahead to next year and plant some berries and fruit bushes for your garden for them to enjoy. Next. So water is precious. And this is a great lesson to teach. This is the year to teach that water is precious. So one way to do that is to have a place in the garden to rinse vegetables that doesn't drain out onto the ground. So this is a little portable sink that I found, some place, and I put water in it and I can rinse my vegetables. And then with its little handy drain, I drain it into a watering can and use the leftover water to water my pots. In the middle is a distorted picture of a trug that has lettuce in it. And I dunk my lettuce, get all the friendly bugs off of it before I take it anywhere near the house. And the one on the right is called a rain maker. So you take an old yogurt or cottage cheese container, you get a nail and a match, you, the adult, heat the end of the heat the end of the nail with the match, and you make lots of holes in the bottom of this yogurt container, and then you give it to the child. And it comes with a bucket. So the bucket can be carried from bed to bed, pot to pot. The only rule is no dumping. Scoop up the water in the rainmaker. It slowly comes out as beautiful, soft rain from the bottom. And this is where you teach children, water the soil, not the leaves. Next. So on the left is a picture of some of the seeds you can start right now. And with kids, bizarre is always more interesting than normal. So on the right, you see dragon tongue beans or black beans from the Cherokee Trail of Tears, or beans that are going to come up in 3 different colors. You never know what color you're going to get. Gourds, birdhouse gourds, pumpkins, popcorn. So you can grow some pretty dwarf popcorn, comes in great colors, or what we refer to as Indian corn, like glass gem. And popcorn, you take the ear of corn, you stick it in the microwave, and it will pop on the cob. And then on the left, there's some greens, some chard that comes in multiple colors, and also some wonderful sunflower seeds.
Katie, you're at
But,
10 minutes now.
okay, starts are better for tomatoes or edible flowers. This is my 1-pot garden. I have an old nursery pot, 5 gallons. I cut with a mat knife 3 holes in the side of the pot. They were 3 inches. And I filled up the pot with potting soil. Then I took a entire 3 plants from a 6-pack of lettuce and stuffed it into the pot through the hole. I did that on all 3 sides. I filled more in and put my sun gold cherry tomato in the bottom, in the top, in the center, and stuck a tomato cage on the top. And it's working great. So this is a small scale, everything in 1 pot, easy to water, easy to test the soil. The yellow tape is because it keeps the soil in if your holes are too big. Next. The classic children's garden, 3 Sisters of Life garden. The 3 sisters are corn, beans, and squash. You can teach that the plants are helping each other out. The tall sister, the corn, goes in first. I use sunflowers often because I don't have enough room for corn, but 2 or 3 sunflowers, that's a lot of sturdy height. You plant those first 1 inch deep. When your tall sister is 6 inches tall, plant 3 climbing sisters around the bottom of them and soak your pole beans overnight. Add a ground hanging sister. This is the mulch, and she will cover the bottom and keep all those plants cozy and moist. So you can use pumpkins, squash, gourds, probably could use cucumbers, but I would stay in the squash family. Next. So here it is. Here are the pumpkins and sunflowers and some corn and some beans growing together and helping each other out. Next. Make it interesting. These are just fun trick tools. It's great to have a little basket that you can dunk in the water, kid-sized gloves. Rediscover the clothespin. It's great, especially if you have it nailed to a wall or something and they put their gloves on it. A magnifier. Always have a magnifier in the garden. When you get tired of gardening, look for bugs. When you're planting small seeds, never give them a whole packet or put them in their hand. A small cup is the safest way. Scissors, kid-sized scissors for harvesting many crops. And on the left is the cool and easily obtainable, probably on the internet, bug catch and release device. And always have a field guide for butterflies, ladybugs, or anything else that's interesting to you, birds in the garden. Next, here's some great books. The one that I swear by the most is from Life Lab at the University of Santa Cruz, the Book of Gardening Projects for Kids. For really small people, activities to do in the garden, roots, shoots, buckets, and boots has long been a classic. And from the UK, Gardening Projects for Kids has all kinds of things, the crafty to the sublime.